YouTube, this is Lucifer Legabord, coming back at you with another video. Forgive the mess here. We actually did some remodeling yesterday, so my desk is a little bit of a mess right now. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I just got done watching one of Tim Cass' videos, and he was mentioning some things very disturbing. Now, what I want to talk about here right now is 2020, okay, and how things are going. Well, apparently yesterday, the 4th of July, in DC, there was some violence going on during the celebrations. Come on, man, it's 4th of July. We're all Americans. Can we not celebrate our nation? Apparently not. We had some flag burnings. In one instance, some Secret Service agents were actually burned and injured. Leftists, left-wingers, Antifa, I believe it was lighting up flags and throwing them at people. And we had fights breaking out between the right and the left, and just all-around issues. And this is on the 4th of July. Apparently tomorrow there's a freedom speech rally going on, and Antifa is expected to show up. Yeah. That's not going to end well. And see, here's the thing. Tim Cass, he showed a picture that was on Facebook of a guy walking through Philly that had a t-shirt on that said, "Kill your local Proud Boy." This is the left now calling for the active violence and death of members of the right. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. When was the last time you heard of groups such as National Socialist Movement or the Ku Klux Klan go out and commit acts of violence? Seriously, when was the last time you actually heard about that? I know everybody keeps on pointing to Charlottesville, saying that NSM was beating people up, that they killed people and whatnot. What a lot of these people who are blathering their mouths about don't realize that NSM on that individual occasion was actually being escorted by a professional camera crew that caught the whole issue on camera that proves their innocence. There is a documentary based on NSM and if they could get along with people of other races. And the woman doing it was from India, and she was walking with NSM with her camera crew, and people were pepper spraying her and calling her a neo-Nazi. Furthest thing from a white woman, she was an Indian woman, and she was very dark complected. Okay, so this tells you the mentality of the left. All right, you walk with members of the right. It doesn't matter how far right they are. You walk with a neo-Nazi organization or whatnot, you get branded one, whether you're white or not. And this is their mentality. They don't stop to ask, hey, what does this group got cameras going for? They caught this woman getting maced at Charlottesville, Virginia, on camera. Yeah, so. And now we got pictures of people walking down the streets of Philadelphia with shirts saying, "Kill your local Proud Boy." We got, members of the left throwing burning American flags on Secret Service agents and law enforcement. We have fights breaking out in front of the White House during our nation's birthday. Okay, so this is what things is coming to. This is where this nation is going. People say, oh, we're not going to go into a civil war. We're not going to go into. We are definitely going to have a civil war. And it is brewing much quicker than I originally said. I just made a video the other day saying my time framing might be off. We might not make it to 2020. Now, I'm thinking we will make it to 2020. However, 2020 will not be a peaceful year. 2020 is going to be our election year, and it is going to be a civil nightmare. Okay? We're not going to be in outright war. We just simply can't afford to be in an outright war during 2020, because I don't know what happens if civil war breaks out during the middle of an election year. Okay? I mean, does the election suddenly stop? Does Trump stay in office until the war is over? I don't know what the procedure is. Okay, so simply put, we cannot go into a civil war during an election year. I'm hoping we don't. But what we will be seeing is we are going to be seeing riots in multiple cities. We are going to be seeing, major campaigns like Donald Trump. When he comes in and he does a rally, he packs out stadiums. What we're going to be seeing is outside of those stadiums is massive amounts of Antifa coming in to harass people. They'll probably be sneaking into the stadiums to cause trouble. Alright? And what's more is now you got leftist media such as Vox and whatnot now preaching to members of the left to get guns, to actually arm up. Now, everybody knows that the majority of the guns, majority of the firearms sit in members of the right, all right? People who are Republicans and whatnot are generally gun owners, all right? But, there is members of the left who own a firearm, okay? Not as many as on the right, but now you got Vox and other members of the media saying, go out and get your guns. Okay? And then you got other members of the left saying, kill your local Proud Boy, actually advocating for physical violence and murder of members of the right. Now, Tim Cass, he made a very good point, that you've got groups such as the Oath Keepers and whatnot. Hang on a quick second. Sorry about that. My son was arguing with the dog over his hot dog. Anyways, so as I was going to say, you have members of the Oath Keeper, political right. They're really decent guys. They're well armed, well trained. They're far from being fascist or anything. And then you have a left-wing gun group. I believe they're called Rebel Yell or something. I don't know. But what's cool is you get these guys. They're all trained with guns, and they can set aside their political views and come together. And you see this often when they're showing up together at a rally or whatnot. They come up, they shake hands, and they start joking and talking about their mutual hobby. And this is a really good example of how we can stop a civil war. Coming together and agreeing on things, finding things that we all agree on. Now, Tim Cass also said, Vox and whatnot saying, go out and get your guns. Now, Oath Keepers and this other group, they're trained with guns. They're really great guys. They're heavily trained with guns. They know what they're doing. They're gun enthusiasts, all right? And, they're not, you see them pulling up a gun, that gun's not going to go off unless they intend it to. There's just no question about it. But what happens when you get a guy who's not trained with a gun, who doesn't know about trigger safety or barrel awareness or whatever you want, gun awareness, who doesn't know any of that, and he's twitchy, and then you put him into a high tension situation like an active rally where you got Antifa on one side and then say NSM and the Proud Boys on the other side. You got one gun group behind you who's supposed to be backing you up on your side. Then you got the other side, they have like Oath Keepers, and this guy, he's twitchy, And he brings up his gun, and he starts pointing it at people. And then say he doesn't know trigger control. He hasn't been trained. Alright, he just went out and he bought a gun. And it goes off. Or somebody throws a firecracker. Something happens. Now you got a bunch of guys who are aiming guns at each other, and a bang goes off. Let's say someone throws a firecracker, and this guy, he thinks someone's shooting at him. He's never heard a gun before, and he takes a shot. Now they've been shot at, and they take a shot back. There's the start of your civil war. That is the shot that's heard around the world. I hope nothing like that ever happens. I sincerely hope that never happens. But that is all too possible, because now you got Vox and other media, leftist media outlets telling, leftists, go out and get your guns. Go get your guns. And we're already in the middle of this situation. Alright? Technically, we are already in a soft civil war. Okay? Now, when I say we are in a soft civil war, no one is shooting at each other. We got a little bit of civil unrest with groups such as Antifa and Proud Boys and other various groups who are clashing with each other in political riots, such as in Portland and whatnot. Excuse me. But you don't have armed military activity. So, most of what you're seeing is, political-wise, you're seeing it in Washington, D.C., with the left, going crazy far left with the Democrats and whatnot. And the Republicans are like, whoa, what's going on here? With just recently the powder keg that was in Oregon, where you had a bunch of Republican senators and congressmen fleeing the state to avoid this one bill from being passed, because they didn't have enough people to outvote it. So they just all up and left to prevent it from even being voted on until its time frame was up, which worked. But in the process, you had the people, the Democrats, calling out the state police and sicking state police on them. Then you had the militias jumping in and protecting them, and it was just a really big powder keg. And that is actually, I've been saying it, that was actually a dry run. That was a dry performance of what a civil war could outbreak be like. It could have been a trigger situation. Had one senator said that if any cops show up at his place, bring guns. He's gonna shoot to kill, and he said that he would shoot to kill cops. Okay, who came to arrest him. And what would have happened if that was the case? We would have probably seen armed conflict in Oregon. Alright, we would have seen that. That's where things are coming to right now. So what is 2020 going to be like? Oh my god, I think it's going to be a nightmare. Alright, we think that things are going bad right now. It's just been escalating since 2016. It's just been slowly building up since 2016. Now it's 2019, and things are about to go completely bananas. Alright, we are halfway through 2019 now. We are on the cusp of really getting into election year. Alright, where political campaigns are really going to start getting going. We're seeing the campaigns starting to roll out right now and start getting going. And what's happening as well? Well, the political tensions between the right and the left is just escalating. And what we're going to see is in 2020, this is how I think things are going to go. I'm hoping people are going to keep their cool enough in 2020 to actually get the election done and over with. Now, do I think it's going to be peaceful? No. We are going to see increased physical violence. We may even see some gunfights occur. Okay? I pray we don't see that, but we might. We are going to be hearing crazier and crazier stories throughout the election year. We're going to see laws getting cracked down on and whatnot. It's going to go bananas. And then, I don't know who's going to win. Okay? For the first time in my entire life, I can't call a winner at this point. Okay. Normally, when election years are rolling around, I'm looking at the candidates and whatnot, and I'm like, who's going to win? And 99% of the time, I say 99% of the time because there was one time when I was a kid that I was wrong. That I was wrong, and Clinton won. I was rooting for Bush, but that's not now. This time around, I'm going to say flat out, I want Trump back in for a second term, but I don't know. Now, here's the thing. If he does get a second term, okay, if Trump wins the election in 2020, that's going to be great for the country politically wise, but not so politically wise. Why do I think that? I think I've said this many a times before. The left is going to explode if Trump wins, and that's when we're actually going to see armed conflict. We are going to see leftist extremist groups like armed Antifas and whatnot, like Rebel Revolt, that's what the other group was, possibly say, okay, we're actually going to go to war. Okay, we're going to see democratic groups and states say, we don't want any more of this. We're not going to let this slide. And they're going to start doing their normal stuff in, the government to try to block Trump and everything. And it's just going to escalate to armed confliction. One way or another. I don't know exactly how, but it's going to happen. Now, if a Democratic candidate wins, here's what I think is going to happen. I don't think we're going to go into armed conflict immediately. Okay? Certainly not within a year or so like we would with Trump. Alright? I think that it'll go for one or more terms of Democratic office before the right-wingers, the Republicans and the right members of the political right say enough is enough. And the main thing is in an outright conflict, Democrats know that they have no way to win against us at this point in time. The majority of our military is Republican, the majority of our law enforcement is Republican, and then let's not even talk about the good old boys who live out in the country. The seats of power for the Democrats sit in inner city areas, where the majority of inner city people are going to be Democratic. And that's where their power is. That's where their power base is. When further out in the country, in the central states of America, you are going to find nothing but Republican. Okay? So, we would actually win in an open conflict. Now, here's the thing. Would we go to open conflict? That's the big part. Republicans, from what I can tell, are much more level-headed. Okay? They're not drifting to the far craziness that we see a lot of these leftists, liberals, and whatnot are going. We're not seeing the craziness out of the right that we are seeing out of the left fringe groups. Okay, usually on the right, we're willing to, downcry some of our far left groups, even if they are being peaceful at this point in time. Okay, I pointed out the KKK and NSM earlier, and that's the truth. They haven't done anything, and we're still downcrying them. But when it comes to the left is promoting, holding up its violent leftist groups, such as Antifa, and saying, hey, look at what these people are doing. They're doing a good job. They're beating up on gay Asian men. Let's give them guns. But we're all against guns. So let's give them guns anyways. Things are going to go to civil war. Everybody knows civil war's coming. I'm going to wrap it up here and whatnot, just leaving this one final word. There is an old saying, pray for peace, but prepare for war. That saying cannot be said to be more true now than it ever was before. Pray for peace, prepare for war. People, war is coming. It's an inevitability. This country has gone for over 100, 150 years since the Civil War. It's done pretty well. And before then, another 100 or so years since the Revolutionary War. Seems like every 100, 150 years in our nation, we see armed conflict on American soil. It seems to work as a purging fire. It's about that time again, and we're seeing the signs of it ramping up everywhere. To anybody out there, whether you're on the political left, political right, doesn't matter. Be safe. Be aware of your situation. Understand what's going on. And pray for peace. And be ready for war. Until then, and until next time, I'm Lucifer Lake Warden. Thank you all for joining me. If you like this content, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget that bell notification. That way you know whenever I'm putting up another video. And until next time, tell me what you think in the comments below. Be polite, please. And I'm out of here.